Welcome to space. What were you expecting? It's a dangerous place. Thank you for investing. Go there for your rota, there for your orders. Fill up these quotas, we'll bill for your quarters. Report to your foreman, but watch for marauders. Cause if you get eaten, there's fees for your mourners. Prosperity's there in the care of magnates. In halcyon heaven awaits. Did you think it was supposed to look like the poster? It mostly does, oh, if you'd only read closer. Just 10 short years to a new frontier. Snooze as you cruise and you'll wake up here. You've been trapped in that ship for an awful long time, so perhaps you have simply forgot what you signed. Oh, honestly, did you not read the colony policy that defined you as company property? That waivers your say in autonomy. The conglomerates got you in lock and key. We put the dollar back into idolatry. If you're upset, you can rent an apology. We are a family forged in bureaucracy. No I in team, but there's con in economy. Were you expecting adventure? Were you hoping for fun? My friend, you're indentured and pleasures exempt from your tenure. So venture back down to your slum that's provided at generous prices. Your worth is determined by your sacrifices. A small term of service went down on the surface. Internment's a freebie that comes with the purchase. We work to earn the right to work, 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 to earn the right to give ourselves the right to die, ourselves the right to live, to earn the right to die.
To our little town, why don't you settle down? You just fill out the paperwork and you could look around. We're happy as can be inside the valley cannery. We live to pack the cans of meat and not to question where it's found until we end up in the ground around the corner in the yard. You know, we thought we liked the sound of finding glory in the stars. The borders taught us to be proud of never reaching very far. So we earn what we're allowed and give it right back at the bar.
The ale to cure what ails you. Zero G brew, your favorite flavor. So work till you bleed, ennobled by labor, then purchase relief from your local retailer. If you'd rather drop dead, that's fine, but you know to drop it down dead, there's a fine. So you do your job and I'll do mine. I gotta meet a 6 foot deep bottom line. We make a fortune for the board by selling boredom door to door, because it's all that we deserve and it is all we can afford. The secrets of the universe and all the worlds to be explored, but our dreams are back on earth and now the work is our reward. And you'll be grateful for seats at the table, though it dips at one end and the bench is unstable. You may waste your days, but at least you were able to pay off your grave since we leased you your cradle. Be faithful and pray we'll repay what you invest. Behave as you slave for humanity's interest, on account that you're all on account and we're quickly amounting humanity's interest. You'd think that we'd sink to the brink of rebellion with markets dependent on peddling weapons. The architect tells them the secret to heaven is simply consuming whatever we sell them. We work to earn the right to work, 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 to earn the right to give ourselves the right to buy, ourselves the right to live, to earn the right to die. Should've read the fine print, my friend. Should've read the fine print. You should've read the fine print, my friend. Should've read the fine print. Welcome to our little town. Why don't you settle down? You just fill out the paperwork and you can look around. We work and then 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 we end up in the ground. Welcome to our little town. Why don't you settle down? You just fill out the paperwork and you can look around. We work and then we work and then we work and then we work and then we work. Should've read the fine print. Here and here and initial here. Welcome to the family.
The Chronicles of Ticklestan, a Twitter story. As a warning, this is something much less serious than my other stuff. This is based on a meme war from Twitter amongst people in the community I stream with that I turned into a dark fantasy story because why the hell not? And I hope you enjoy. This is brought to us courtesy of Samuel the Infamous, by Shadow of Hawk 551, narrated by Caucasian Sasquatch. Like, comment, and subscribe. Forget dreams and wonder, for both are dead. The darkness that chokes the world has killed dreams and wonder. This is a world of spite, war, and hate. There are no heroes, only villains who are less vile than others. These are the Pickleston Chronicles. The Pickles of Pickleston have always been a peaceful people, growing their young as cucumbers and then brining them in the salty waters of the Barrier Sea into pickles. They grow a variety of foods and trade them with foreigners, all ilks, as well as maintain the land-based trade routes that pass between the eastern and western continent. As major powers began to rise and fall, the Pickles found themselves under attack. Seaborne raiders from the anti-libertarian Marine. Do you want to be on cam?
I'm honestly procrastinating. You always do a live bit. I end up, procrastinating. I don't want to make decorations for the Valentine's Day event at my job because I cannot figure out how to do a fucking stupid flower with tissue paper. I'm about to just say F it. I'm already cooking the whole thing.
Want to hear a stupid story?
Absolutely.
So, when me and my wife met each other, we basically have been friends for I don't know how long. We don't know how long before we actually decided we were going to be dating. So when we decided to pick an anniversary, we couldn't figure out when it was we had started. So we picked Valentine's Day because it's easy to remember. And there's no fucking excuses for forgetting. What's up, Flint? It's Scotty.
That it is a really easy one, and if you lived near me, I'd say come up to the restaurant. You want to know what our what the special is that I designed the whole thing, and I know you like your steak. 2 9-ounce ribeyes, cocktail for each, loaded baked potato, corn or asparagus, and dessert, and it's $30 per couple.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm currently on vacation.
Lucky.
I'm on an island off the coast right now, but I'm also so that's not great.
We can't be friends anymore. You're on an island. I'm in Missouri.
That sounds like a you problem, not a me problem.
I know. I know.
Help things you do when I'm not around.
I know. Oh, trust me. I mean, when I go down to Florida, I live it up. I'm like, haha, you motherfuckers are in the cold. Because we always try to go during winter so I can warm up a little, That
don't always work out.
No, if we'd gone down there when we normally do this year, the cold would have been with us. My mom called me.
Fucking iguana falling out of the tree.
My mom told me it was 30 degrees in Fort Lauderdale, and we actually were finally getting warm. It was like 50 degrees here. It's like, wow. But the week before, we'd been -8. So,
yeah, about the coldest it got back home was it got down to 20, maybe 19.
I love my heated jackets and such.
Good, Fletch. I'm glad to have you catch up. That's great. It's always lovely when you're in time with the stream.
So curious, what's your opinion on the whole tiny house thing? Because I actually want one. So I saw that was on your thing. So.
I've got a buddy of mine named Mandatory Carey. Hello, people. Anyway, he's doing a thing called a pod house. If you can think about one of those little tiny Japanese hotel rooms, right? The idea of it being that you can place these in various public spaces, and
What's the YouTuber's name? Because I actually think I watched some of his. If
uh,
it like
the
he
name of
builds
the
them.
channel. No, he's not
Oh,
building. He's trying to
oh.
find investment to do this thing. But the channel that he's doing it with is Pod House, Lighthouse Pond Homes, I think.
Okay. Because there's
Lighthouse.
this one YouTuber that makes them like on the outside it looks like a dumpster or something, and he'll bring it to like next to a McDonald's to see how long he can stay there until he gets caught. You know, stuff like that. That's why I thought maybe it was the same person. So you're making lasagna for dinner?
We're trying to. We seem to be failing to make lasagna for dinner. Is what seems
Okay.
to be happening. What's up,
Why?
Dan,
Why are
brother?
you failing? What's going on here, Adam?
It's an unfamiliar oven, and everything we do that to try to adjust the time turns it off, and we can't tell.
So it's the oven itself at the hotel.
Well, it's me. Like I'm the moron. It is totally an ID10 error.
I see. So is it okay? We're on vacation anyway, so let's just go out to eat, kind of thing at this point.
No, I'm gonna figure it out. I am not a moron. I have it figured out now. I just have to give it another 15 minutes for it to actually cook.
So it was al dente.
Your mama.
Sorry, raised by a chef, went to culinary school. I knew all the stupid proper terms.
Sure, I do too, but I don't have to participate in illusions.
Just like I tell people, oh, you want your steak cooked well done? I'm sorry, I don't need that negativity in my life.
Right? I'm sorry, we can't be friends anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it ain't got to be mooing.
Pretty much, that's how I like mine. Like you walk it by the fire on both sides. I'm good. I know, Kelly. I know. So, well, enjoy your vacation. I'm just trying to procrastinate, but I know I shouldn't. And happy anniversary.
Oh, she run away. Swamp living witches and heathens coming up from the south, and savage blonde-haired men with fur pelts and cowhide shields coming up from the lowlands to their southeast. They sought protection. They found it in the form of the Baktaco Kingdom. The Pickles, having no real theology before this, began to praise the king of Baktaco Kingdom, Dermy Wormy, as their defender and savior. They would offer up choice members of their civilization as a gift to the Baktaco and erected great pyramids in his honor, their memory and praise, their protector. Eventually, the Baktaco Kingdom, through hook or crook, pacified the tribes of Shak to its south, the lands of Adam to its north, and in some dark and unknowable pact, aligned the game land of Anna to its banner. This growing threat brought fears to the city-state of Hadouken, a growing industrial power in the region that made use of steel and steam to exert its will on otherwise tribal savages within its bounds. Its leader, Paul of the House Hadouken, sought out allies. He found them in the green-haired leader of the anti-liberal Marines, Tiff, and the many times cursed dirty T-Rex fucker Ryan. Through Ryan, he secured an alliance with the swamps. as for some unknown reason, the infamous deity of the swamp, Samuel, was the hetero life partner of the T-Rex fucker. Battle was had in the kingdom of the potatoes when the great king of those peoples, Fractured Filter, was driven from his capital by the armies of Pocahontas, or, as she was known to her enemies, the dreaded Melee K. On the fields of Tuber, Fractured Filter joined the Power Couch Nation, a union of disparate factions against the dreaded foe of the Bactaco Kingdom. And the following day, the armies of Dermy marched into view. Steam-belching tanks with steel hides were surrounded by potatoes that were furious at being driven from their homes. The flanks were guarded by T-Rex riding savages whose leader, Rex Ryan, led from the front. Interspersed behind the line were druids, cultists, and witches of Samuel, guarded by their throngs of savage heathens covered in vines and snakeskins, all wielding long knives or bare fists for battle. These dark-hearted savages were commanded by the demon Kohai Masochist and the dread knight Larry, two of the most loyal retainers of the infamous, who had yet to take the field. On the opposing side were the armies of the Bactaco Kingdom. The flanks were held by the kangaroo-riding Drusina of Gameland, their queen Anna standing upon her war chariot drawn by Herculean-sized snow leopards. Beside the flanks forming the bullhorns, their people were so known for, were the tribes of Shock, men with skin only slightly less white than those of the Gameland, with hair blonde like gold and armor and shields of thick animal hides from the beasts they hunt and butchered in the lowlands of Shock. Their preferred weapon, barbed spears for bringing down the great beasts of the lowlands, were forged with Gameland steel, a sign of the loyalty between the two nations. And for a reason unknown to the king of the Bactacos, the warriors of Shock would stink of the mint leaf. The core of the army were the oppressed peoples that had been broken under the Bactaco. Tribesmen who only knew how to work iron and bronze. Adams, a race of identical-looking men that reproduced by sporing, who refused to bow to Dermy, were thrown either to the Bactaco or to the war effort. The Adams were as endless as their suffering. And most numerous were the Pickles, a people who had no knowledge of warfare, yet made grand fodder for their numbers. Those that were war slaves were ones that had spoken against the Bactaco, and they were to be used as arrow fodder by Pocahontas in the name of the Bactaco. The corps around the Bactaco king Dermy were dressed in lamellar armor of a variety of colors, with great two-handed curved blades, or arquebuses of a far northern make, at the ready. Budo helms and demon masks hid their faces as banners strapped to their backs bearing their clan's crest billowed in the winds. And at the center of it all, raised upon a foul and gross temple throne, was the Bactaco king himself, Dermy Wormy. His foulness unrivaled, his obesity unequaled, the wails of 1,000 victims cried out from his Bactaco as he stared evilly upon the war that was to be had in his name. The field held its breath. A light dew coating the ground as two hosts stared each other down. The T-Rexes were the first to break the silence, the stink of ruse in their nostrils. They roared, and with their call, the Rangers of Requiem roared with their beasts. Rushing forward like great predators, they fought alongside in pawn. The Ruish Drusina feigned a withdrawal towards the horns of Shock, but the Rex of Requiem knew this was a trap, for he had seen the warriors of Shock lay low great beasts in his traveling days. He clicked his heels into the flank of his mount, Rexy, and she roared to her fellow Rexes, who obeyed and backed away from the trap. The tribesmen of Shock, seeing this withdrawal as a sign of weakness in their beasts, broke ranks and surged forward, bellowing and screaming. Their warlord, Shaka Zulu, could not rein them in, instead bidding for his close friend Anna to join him in the charge. Half of Dermy's army was surging towards the lines of the power couch. The tanks of the Hadouken were the first to spill blood that day. A staccato of machine gun fire sounded out against the screams of the Shock and tore into the maddened hordes by the dozens. Cannons meant to break through stone walls fired as mortars at the rude Drzinos, sending the bodies of Man, Rue, and Joey into the air as a bloody mess. Then the magics of the swamps came into range. Benedictions to Samuel or prayers to the spirits of the earth and sky were sung and screamed. Eldritch lightnings fell from the outer dark as the very ground rose against the charging clans. Kohai was about to unleash her dread power when the head of a druid near her exploded and thunder sounded from the east. Gameland sharpshooters, guided by Pickles, who had spent many seasons in the Potato Kingdom as farmers and traders, had set themselves up in the perfect place to target the Mage Core. The magic was ceased as the denizens of the swamps fled behind and beside the tanks for cover. The Rexes upon the right flank, bitten by bullets that hurt like gnats to the great beasts, but were lethal for their riders and rangers, charged at the sharpshooters and were pulled out of position. The Rexes on the left flank, led by Rex Ryan, charged forward into the suppressed hordes of the Shock, confident that the beast hunters could be broken by his army of beasts. But amongst the grasses, Picklehuntus's partisans of premier Pickle Pathfinders were waiting with rope and wire. They charged unseen until it was too late at the legs and the feet of the Rexes and the men that ran alongside them, tripping them, tumbling them, felling them. And then the Shock entered javelin range. Barbed spears flew screaming into the air. The scent of copper joined that of mint as the metal tips bit deep into the flesh of man and grounded avian. Rex Ryan upon Rexy was not deterred nor perturbed by the ambush and failed charge. His long sword swung violently from the back of Rexy, him hanging only by bungee rope as he swung from her back at the foe, hacking warriors of Shock as she fed upon the blood and brine of their foe. On the right flank, without the Rexes to provide support, the snakeskin-wearing heathens of Samuel were overridden by Rue-riding Drusina, whose beast kicked them back into their allies, only to be speared by the lances of Drusina upon their back. And the Shocks joined as vigorously. Javelins flew through the air into the effectively unarmored heathens. But these were not sane men who would fall into a gibbering wreck from such a lethal attack. They were madmen of the swamps, those who had seen the face of Samuel in their dreams. They were mad, pain held no form over them. They countercharged into the Shock tribes without any fear of death, for their minds were broken. Shaka Zulu joined proper with his elites, surprised at the countercharge against the forces of his and his friends' mighty army. Anna herself committed her chariot and leopards, trampling the heathens as her cats played with them, their claws and twisted minds being the only thing to elicit screams from the maddened cultists. With the enemy too close, the tanks could not fire their main cannons, and they lost precious seconds as they quietened their guns whilst debating whether or not to fire into the backs of their allies to kill the attackers. The Knight Larry took the initiative, charging into the battle flanked by screaming reserves of Zealot Dark Paladins, and angry potatoes bolstering the forces of the heathens who had effectively stabilized the line against the Shock warriors and driven off the Drusina completely. As Anna commanded her forces to pull away, their advantage of momentum lost, to reorganize for a second charge. Within the command bunker, President General Paul of the Great and Glorious House Hadouken watched the battlefield shift and move on his battle map, his aides and spotters moving pieces to represent up-to-date information. Comms using simplistic line-of-sight radios were seen as the radio operators coordinated the crews of the tanks. Many were running low on ammunition and would need to cycle out to resupply, but doing so would leave many magic users exposed. Reports of how the T-Rexes and their supporting warriors on the left flank were nearly gone. The enslaved masses of the Back Taco Kingdom were driven forward with whips by Yaris and Noticus demon-masked taskmasters. Despite the woe for the power couch, there was enough room for Rex Ryan to rally his T-Rex riders and his rangers into something of a formation. Withdrawing at this juncture would expose their flanks and rear. They were not disciplined enough to back away controlled, so he committed to facing down the slave army. Arquebuses shrieked from the lines of Back Taco. As Rexy ran forward, her skull strong enough to shatter the tallest and oldest of redwoods to splinters, soaking up lead that intended to dig into her flesh and lay her low. Ryan was protected by her skull, and when they arrived at the enemy line, he swung along her side and began swinging his blade against the slave soldiers that surrounded him. Rexy dined upon the flesh, bronze and iron breaking upon her hide, brine and blood staining her teeth and clawed feet. Rangers of the Requiem joined the fray in Rex's tooth. Even with the whipping and prodding by their masters, the slaves could not find the courage to charge forward with the jaws of such a foe. First one, then two, then 10, then 30, then 100, then 200, and soon the entire force broke. They threw down their demon-masked masters and trampled them to death, charging away. But this act saved the life of the Back Taco King, for the T-Rexes were hungry and enraged. The screaming, crying men in pickles were more appealing to run down than to fight the demon-faced men with thunder sticks and gleaming claws. That left Rex Ryan, his Rexy, who was the only one to rein in her bloodlust enough to stand with her rider, and a band of warriors out of position and outnumbered, being surrounded by the practitioners of Back Takoshido, the reformed shock warriors, and melee K's, Pickle Huntus's partisans of premier Pickle Pathfinders. Upon the extreme right flank, the Gameland sharpshooters executed a withdrawal that led the Rexes and riders and rangers into a gully where a group of shock charged out with javelins and boar spears, and Rue riders led by Anna charged into the exposed, unsupported flanks of Requiem's force. Half of the Requiem's contingent died out of sight of the Power Couch Nation, who were horrified to see the host of fresh shocks charging over the hills with songs of gunfire ringing out as officers and mages died. Hadouken ordered his tanks around the command bunker and ordered his reserves to take defensive positions. Machine guns, weapons of incredible value, were placed alongside crossbowmen and slingers within a line of trenches as the tanks withdrew, abandoning the front line. The heathens, uncaring and mad, fought on despite the impossible odds. The cultists and the witches threw caution to the wind and cried out for darker desires. Invisible forces tore through the warriors of shock. Men melted into mush, only to form into unspeakable writhing horrors with many limbs and eyes that popped like grenades only moments after being born, showering the men with viscera and bone shrapnel. Unlike the heathens, they feared death. Soon, the denizens of the swamps withdrew to the line of Hadouken, the ones not maddened by seeing their god's face. Those had died horrifically and brutally, but they watered the ground red. The potatoes fought to the last alongside the madmen, only withdrawing to drag their king away, who fought on despite his grievous wounds. The armies of the Power Couch had been segmented and torn apart, and as they readied for their final deaths, separated and alone, Dermy stood tall, his impossible bulk thundering against the base of his throne as he spoke. He offered mercy so long as the leaders of this foolish opposition submitted to the Backtalker. A million voices cried out not to take the offer, to fight and resist and not believe his lies. He silenced them in an act too horrific to describe. But it was this act, this attempt at silencing the truth, that bid the Rex of Requiem to cry out, "Fuck you, Dermy, you fat fuck." And he and Rexy and his riders and his rangers resisted the foe, fighting as though hell itself was at their backs. They fought the Shock and the warriors of Baktakoshido and the partisans of Pocahontas. Then the skies boiled and blackened, and the air lost its sweetness. A horrific, indescribable horror descended from above, a body of endless tendrils gathering around a hooded face, a face hidden in blackness. Upon the hood was a beanie with a middle finger sewn on, the symbol of the infamous. And he spake, his voice not corporal, but appearing in the mind of every living thing upon the battlefield.
Save the rat for scream.
Well, I say every day, it's a getting closer to taking a bath with my fucking toaster.
Greetings, welcome, and salutations to the, and I just jacked that all up, but you'll have to forgive me. 76th episode of Screaming Into the Void, where we talk about whatever the hell we feel like. My apologies for the lateness, folks. That was on me. I only recently got the link set up because I slept all day and almost didn't wake up in time for this, so here we are. But joining me today, we have Ryan.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I'm the Dirty Rex fucker, and I'm streaming from my phone. And from Gal's face, I sound super gay.
Okay.
To the enemies of the Power Couch, a horde of horrific and impossible shrieks sounded from the void. Not in their minds. A real sound, one that shook the world and could be heard as far away as Picklesdown. But it left the Power Couch unharmed, and they responded violently. The Requiem broke free and withdrew. The heathens of Samuel rose from their wounds and fought on with their God in sight, and the Hadouken Corps rearmed, rejoined the fighting, and battered and broke the Shock in Gamelin Dracena. Dermy looked upon his shattered army and fled before the sight of his defeat. But he knew if he returned home, he could raise a new army, a greater army. He would break the Power Couch beneath his back taco. Then he saw it, a forest of masts upon the sea. The green-haired anti-liberal had led her fleet of marines and sailors against the capital of the Potato Kingdom. His reserves had been surprised and destroyed. The anti-liberals had established a carronade upon its walls of the fortress city and garrisoned it with fresh fighters. The Back Taco King knew he had been bested, and so he called for a truce. He was to return to the east and never cross over into the west. He was to relinquish his authority of his vassals and allow any of the people who sought freedom their freedom. The Adams and many other tribes cried tears of joy at this. Picklestan was split in two to allow a buffer state, as the Pickles themselves were still loyal to Dermy. The western half became Pickle Crane, an unofficial member of the Power Couch Nation and a protectorate of the Potato Kingdom. The city of Weeb was given over to the anti-liberal Marines, severing the trade of weapons and armor from the Weebish River to the peoples of the Back Taco. It was a horrific and humiliating defeat for the Back Taco, but it was not the end. For whilst Dermy was battered, he was not broken, and a million voices still cried out from within the Back Taco as he plotted his next return. The Chronicles of Picklestan. The West. Paul. The South was a frozen hellscape that no civilized man could live in. That must be why the men of the United Kingdom of the Swift lived there, for no civilized man would worship a thing as vile as the Swift. Nor, for that matter, would a civilized man put up with the chill of the South. Paul was no stranger to the snowy winters. He had written songs to be sung whilst people played snow wars, or a family bundled up during a blizzard. But this was something different, an eternal winter without the comforts of a steam generator to keep him warm, as he would in his home in the great city of Hadwortham. Oh, were he able to just sit there and work on his songs and plan the city's future. But no, the Pickles and that bastard Back Taco King had to make his life difficult. Starting wars and pushing for the Back Taco supremacy, he didn't even like Pickles. He didn't understand why they had to bother protecting them or saving them. But he had a duty, a responsibility, and a fear. Cigar, sir? Asked his most trusted advisor, Nalik, a portly man with a head bald like an egg and the look of an imp to him. It was he who in fact directed his gaze to the threat of the Back Taco, and how integral securing Picklestan would be to check its advance westward. That had been successful, but oh, the cost it had taken to achieve. The Requiem had been brutally bloodied, and the reparations of the city of Weeb directed the anti-liberal Marines to the other side of the Barrier Sea, limiting their effective value in any future conflicts, limiting the time they have to settle roots in that city. And not to say of the infamous, who had decided now was the perfect time for a nap. If the Back Taco Kingdom learned that the one who had single-handedly saved the lives of the kings of the West was now slumbering for who knows how long, the current affairs could worsen. His mind settled back to the cold of the South biting at his flesh and tearing into his bones, meant for warmer and fairer climes. He was here because he sought more allies, and he had been hopeful for the United Kingdoms behind Kinzo the Swift Lover as allies. There were many tribes gathered behind a single principle: survive the storms. The Gaelics dwelled in the lowlands and survived the storms by going to ground. The Welsh in this rocky and mountainous east made walls into their hills to block the storm, or so they believed. Gameland frontiersmen known as Lascans drove them from their homes and into the care of the other kingdoms, mighty as they are. They are no match for the feared sharpshooters of the Gameland. The English were the people who settled in the parts of the South that could have something called a summer, which they spent raising maize that thrives in the short growing season before entering their keeps and riding out the storms of winter, with the songs of the swift keeping them warm. Final amongst the United Kingdoms were the Danes, coastal raiders that sailed up the western coast and pillaged and despoiled the peoples there. Sailors that, should a fair route be found, could augment the coastal defenses provided by the anti-liberal Marines. As for the other three, no better archers were found in the world than the English, and no men hardier in the West existed than the Welsh and the Gaelics. The army of the power couch had lacked the overwhelming storm of arrows that the English could provide, and with the armored center of the Gaelics and the Welsh, the madmen of the swamps could properly engage their foes with a solid wall to keep them centered and unflanked. Sir, the impish man spoke again, holding out a cigar. Paul, roused from his thoughts, took the cigar from Nellie and placed it into his mouth. Tobacco from the swamps, a good benefit from the alliance with the infamous. Many of his men, whether they be mounted on horses, steam cars, or in the hatch of a patent
Cheeseburger.
had already lit their cigars, to both keep them warm and to give them something.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
How are you doing?
Cheeseburger.
Macaroni? I'm making lasagna.
Eating a bacon cheeseburger.
Good deal. Is
Yeah,
it
it's
tasty
good.
and delicious?
Is it what?
Tasty and delicious.
Tasty. Yeah, it's tasty and delicious.
Excellent. I'm happy for
Delicious.
you.
Oh man, it's good. Hmm. What's this show about?
I'm testing all of my equipment over here. I just got it all set up. And it seems to be functional. And I was wondering about the stability of the internet and all that stuff. So I figured I'd let it run about an hour with a bunch of windows open and doing crap and see if I have any glitches or problems.
There's somebody digging on the screen.
There
in
is.
rubber.
There is. I'm proud
That's
of
not
you.
you though, is it?
No, that's not me. Got it from a primitive technology channel. Of some type. I can't remember which one. It'll probably get put in the description after. What you want to talk about, bud?
I don't know.
Oh no.
I'm just enjoying this bacon cheeseburger.
Good man.
But who's Marilyn? She said, "This is so manly so far. This is my third cheeseburger tonight." I was hungry. God damn. The first
Screwed
one
up
was a
with
double bacon cheeseburger with portobello mushrooms.
That does sound good.
Yeah, and the bacon is so good. They have good bacon.
Excellent.
Is this guy in Asia somewhere?
Somewhere. Got to be. Looking at the bamboo and the plants around it.
Cambodia maybe, or Vietnam?
Maybe. I'm thinking Cambodia. Something about the proximity of the mangroves to the mountains. Make me think Cambodia.
He's got a knife in a leather sheath. It looks like it might be a Nepalese knife. He might be somewhere in that area.
Maybe. I mean,
Or bordering. Maybe he ordered one from there. I have a knife similar to that. They're handmade.
yep. It's hard to beat a good lasagna, man.
Are you into survivalism or building bushcraft things and building
Well,
shelters?
into it myself, I don't do it because I used to do that stuff as a hobby. Go hunting and just crash out in the swamp for a couple of weeks. And then I realized people called that homeless. I was like, wait a second.
What did you eat out in the swamp? Like, what would you catch?
Fish, mostly. Almost exclusively.
What about if it was a zombie apocalypse? Would you ever eat humans?
Well, I mean,
Like
you
cannibalism?
you might catch zombie stuff if you eat humans.
Yeah.
But if I had the choice between eating my dog and my neighbor, I'd eat my neighbor because my dog can help me find more neighbors.
I wouldn't eat my dog because I love my dog, but I
Right.
don't like neighbors or most people. So
I mean,
I'd probably
that's the
eat
other
them
side of
first.
it. Yeah. You're not wrong.
What?
So that's the other side of it.
Yeah. If you had to pick between eating a fat guy or a fat woman, what do you think would taste better as a cannibal?
I'm pretty sure the fat woman would enjoy it more. Oh, wait, no, as a cannibal?
Yeah.
I'm not sure there's a difference. They're both morally repugnant.
Do you think women's fat might taste better than a dude?
I have no idea. All I know is
Well,
that
you know
the
how
Caribbean folks like the delicious long pork.
I'm just thinking of how fatty meat, like a fatty steak, is way better. And then I don't know if it's a fat cow, she might taste better. The bull's meat might be rougher or tougher. It might not be as good. I don't know. Women tend to have more body fat.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. So if you ate a breast or something off a fat cow of a woman, it might taste pretty good.
I think that would probably be up to the chef and how it's prepared. Would be my guess.
So this guy's still digging out a shelter.
Well, he found a cave.
Oh, he
He
found a cave. Okay.
now keep in mind this is all fictional lore of the channel. He built a tree house. Tree house got pushed down by a storm, so now he's trying to find quote unquote somewhere else to live. Found a cave.
I see. Well, over there in Asia, those Orientals will eat snakes and weird shit out of the jungle.
Sure. And I don't know how weird it is to eat stuff from, your environment. I mean, would I choose to eat a snake? I mean, if I had a limited menu, maybe, but there's fish everywhere, bro.
Yeah, I think I'd rather have a fish than a snake head, or they have like snake head soup or something where it's like the heads of the snakes are just still
No,
they're boiled,
snakehead.
floating.
Actually, hold on. Snakehead soup is made of the snakehead fish. It's a fish soup.
Oh, okay. It looks like a snake though, the fish.
Yeah, I think
That
so.
snake head is
When you boil it
it's
down, I
a
think it does.
nasty looking fish.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm fucking dying over here, dude.
Why?
I don't know. I came on vacation and I left and I had like a little scratch in my throat. And I got here and went to sleep and woke up with a full blown head cold.
Oh, it's a head cold.
That's why I didn't have all this stuff set up today. I slept all day. I slept 7 hours. Yeah, I slept 7 hours today.
Did you ever fall asleep when you're sick and sleep the whole weekend?
Not really. I've got back issues. I can't sleep but for about 5 hours. I got to get up and move around. That was true
As
even
a
back
kid,
when
one time, I fell asleep. We went to our grandparents' cottage, and I was feeling sick, and I slept the whole weekend.
now
I woke up, and I was like, "We're going home," and they put me in the car, and I was like, "What?" I missed the whole weekend. I was asleep the whole time.
now when I got the coof back in the day, uh I got like a really nasty chest cold. I didn't think nothing about it, and uh felt like crap. I went to bed and woke up the next morning. I still felt like crap, and I went and took a shower, and I was wrapped up in a towel with a robe like on, but not like with my arms in it. I just had it draped over my shoulders. And I sat down on the chair, fell asleep. I slept for at least 24 hours straight. And when I got woke up because somebody knocked on the door, my dogs went crazy and they tipped over my chair. I like hit myself in the face with my knee, and that woke me up. And so I wake up, dogs are going nuts, but I can't breathe. I'm over there like a fish out of water. And I stand up and cough a few times and get some goobers up. And I look down, I feel so nasty, man. I feel like sticky, like tacky, like I'd been sweating for a week and hadn't showered. And so I just went straight into the shower and took another shower. And I realized when I was walking into the shower that everything touching me was bone dry, right? So I knew it had been more than a few minutes. Yeah, I did just have a birthday, Fab Daddy. The great 46, I suppose. And when I got back to the living room, I picked up my phone and I had like 136 messages I'd missed. I had like 50 emails. I had 200 phone calls. My wife had gone to Disney World with the kids and stuff. And I'd stayed home to keep the dogs and whatnot. A lot of good that did. My ass was almost dead in that chair, bro.
You missed Disney, you missed a birthday, you missed Christmas, you were asleep.
Well, I mean, I guess it could have been worse. I'm not quite sure how, but
What if you woke up in the year 2500 or something and you were like, what?
we got some Rip Van Winkle shit going on over here. I'm chill. I'm good with it. As long as it don't pop out like Idiocracy, and it's even dumber than it is now. I don't know if I can handle that. And you got to admit, things are pretty dumb right now.
Yeah, that's true. There's people that will hate you just for eating a cheeseburger. These vegans, they'll even call for the death of meat eaters.
Yeah, I had a really good, I say really good YouTube friend. Before I started my channel, I'd helped her build hers. And, you know, it was just somebody, it was a hobby. I was just helping somebody with their channel. It wasn't anything, I didn't expect nothing for it or nothing like that, right? And when she got into live streaming, I had just started my new channel and I went, you know, hit her up on her email, let her know who I was, and I popped up on panel. And we were talking about things that she would do if she was like king of the universe or whatever. She was like, the very first thing I would do is gene edit meat proteins into beans. And I was like, I'm allergic to beans. And she just went dead silent. I was like, yeah, you're advocating for my absolute murder, just right out the box. I'm not sure how I feel about that. She's like, well, and I said, well, what do you do with meat? Do I just not get to eat? Do I have to just hunt for my food? Do I get rats? Like, what do I get? What can I eat? Yeah. She didn't have no answer for none of that, man. Like, she got up because I was like, what about chickens? Can I eat chickens? She's like, no meat. And I'm like, well, then what the fuck am I supposed to eat? I can't eat your freaking mutant Frankenstein beans. Now what? You can't just put me in a closet and let me starve to death. If you're going to kill me, you have to do it right now. You have to just pop a cap right in my skull and be done with it. Don't be pussyfooting around. I want to starve to death over here. And I damn sure don't want to die of like chronic allergic reaction. What's up, Chuck? Welcome in, bud. Good to see you.
Yeah, that would be the worst.
That would, wouldn't it? I mean, I don't know if I could think of a much worse way to go.
A lot of people are allergic to vegetables. They just can't digest them or get any nutrition, horrible pain,
I
cramps.
suspect most of that has to do with bad diet. And if they eat the vegetables a little bit to develop the right stomach flora and fauna, that they could. It's just that most people don't do it long enough. They end up eating a little bit of vegetables and then they get a little gas and their stomach hurts and they're like, oh, I'm not going to eat that broccoli anymore.
Yeah.
Did you get kicked from Untethered tonight? Is he streaming tonight? That's crazy, Fab Daddy. How you piss him off? I could guess. You disagreed with him, right? God, I want him to meet Jack Talcott. I think him and Jack Talcott would have a goodly long conversation. I think.
Who?
Untethered Live. I got this joke, and it is a joke, but at the same time, it also kind of describes how he is, right? But he's basically a young Earth Christian scientist evangelist on YouTube. So make of that what you will.
Oh, young Earth.
Yeah. Yeah. He thinks 6,800 and something years old. And that limits an awful lot of conversations.
Does that guy know that Jack Talcott is the second coming of Jesus, according to Jack?
It's like I have tried to introduce them on a couple of occasions, and it's like they can sense each other coming.
Like two dogs at a distance, they can sort of sense and smell.
I don't know, man. All I know is like every time I've tried to get them both on the same panel, one would show up and 2 seconds after the other one left. And they might do that 2 or 3 times in the same night. And I'm like, wow. You're sure you're not the same person?
That's kind of a touchy subject for Jack now. He doesn't want to really admit that he used to say that he's the second coming of Jesus. Somebody brought it up that he texted his own mother telling her that and showed the texts at one point. So his mom, Jack's mom, thinks he's nuts.
I don't speak on people's family in general. And I ain't got nothing against Jack at all. I'm in the South and we have revivalists everywhere, bro. Like, so he doesn't seem as unusual to me as he seems to appear to others. Does that make sense?
Yeah, a little bit. I don't have any problem with him. I kind of like his mom too. She's not that bad. Mama Cot.
That's you sharing something, right?
Yeah, that's Mama Cot.
I'm not doing it, dude. I'm not doing it. I like Jack. I like Jack.
People have seen it on my shows. It's Mama Cot. I went on his show one time as Mama Cot, and I did a voice, and I called him out and said, "Why haven't you called me?" He thought he was having a Norman Bates moment. He said it was so funny. He looked like he was reacting to his own mother.
I think I'm gonna drink a half bottle of NyQuil and just go to bed. I don't know, man. It's not worth it. It just doesn't seem worth it right now. I mean, my whole head, though, dude, like I feel like my head is full of bees. Just slimy. I tell you what, I told somebody earlier. They asked me how I was doing. I was like, "You ever been walking through a pine forest to see one of those yellow slime molds crawling across a limb on the floor?
Yeah.
I kind of feel like that limb.
Oh.
He
Oh,
just,
damn.
yeah, just kind of, I don't know, thick.
That's crazy.
I don't even know how it happened. That's the thing that gets me is like when I left the house the other day, I was fine. I had a little bit of a headache behind my eyes, but I was fixing to be driving, and that's kind of stress kind of does that sometimes. So I didn't really think nothing much about it. I got about halfway here, about 3.5 hours in, popped me a couple of Tylenol, and the headache kind of eased up, but also kind of spread out, went down my neck, top of my shoulders and shit. As soon as I got here, I crashed out. I was about to sleep before I got here. I unpacked some shit and went to bed. Slept from then till 6 a.m. Got up, ate breakfast, and went back to sleep till noon. Got up, took some medicine, and went back to sleep till 6. So I ain't done a whole bunch since I've been here, but breathe.
I had an Asian flu one time, and I just kept craving Chinese food when I was sick.
That's terrible, dude. That's really
I couldn't.
If I felt better, I'd kick you out for that shit. Oh, sheesh, man. Let's see what are we gonna do with these people, bro? Let's see if I can
Is
find.
Chuck still here?
We got Fab Daddy, we got Fletch. Nah, Chuck's probably dipped. He was here 10 minutes ago, roughly. I wouldn't stick around and watch this trash either. I mean, I'll be honest. I've done better. Like I said, it was a test. I'm running on like all Wi-Fi and new location and everything. One thing I'm gonna have to do, I'm gonna have to tear all this shit back apart and turn the table 90 degrees, put it back together. I don't have enough room. Oh no, it's not working. Why is it not working? It's terrible.
Chuck still has a crush on me. Look at that.
Oh yeah, he really does. You two should get together, try to make some beautiful babies or some shit. I don't know.
Chucky.
Jesus, I keep having these fucking sneezing fits, bro. Why can't I redirect? Oh no.
I don't know.
Wild. Let's try this again from a different direction. That's not working either. That's so strange. I must have moved it again. I hate it when they do that stuff. When they come in and they change freaking things in the studio. Hey, now I got a chance. Oh, this, no. That's not it at all. I'll tell you what, y'all figure out where the hell to go, because I can't tell you. Right? See, have fun. Remember, secret to life is to breathe. You gotta breathe.
This one's for you, buddy. Nice.
Ladies and gentlemen, Class of 99, wear sunscreen. If I could offer you only one tip for